Alright, guys, so today we're taking a look at the newest chapter of JJK, and the leaks just came out about a day ago, and the chapter has finally released. So I'm going to go ahead and review and just go through it with you guys. So, in the last chapter, we got to see that Gojo actually shrunk his domain down to the size of what they call smaller than a basketball, right? And so we're looking at something that I refer to as a mini domain and just a small black sphere, right? And it's just the barrier super condensed. Now we see Kusakabe talking about the impossibility of this. Mei, of course, comments that, well, things have seemingly been impossible the entire time, right? And they've seen that just in the few or the short amount of time that Gojo and Sukuna have been fighting. Now we can look at what Maki's saying. She also gives her comment on the smallness of the sphere. Kusakabe also just continues to talk about being trapped in this domain, and once you go to look at kind of the insides, what are you getting from there, right? What's the kind of upside to shrinking your domain down to this really miniature size? Kusakabe later goes on to confirm that there should be some kind of internal condition that doesn't really allow for this size of domain. Because when you try to imagine the inside or the concrete image of your domain, you typically have set parameters for how fast it grows, the size of it, etc., right? And so as you continue to look at these parameters, something like a domain that's smaller than the size of you, as Kusakabe puts it, shouldn't be allowed to occur. So if it's smaller than the body, you shouldn't be able to sustain that. But Choso also chimes in that he can actually do this because there is, in fact, some level of training he received from the prison realm, the one that allows him to sustain himself in a domain that's much smaller than him. Now, as we look, he also goes on to talk about both Higuruma and Hikari's domains, saying their domains open as soon as their techniques open, right? So they're just by default allowed to do this thing. And they typically aren't changed, those parameters stay set. And it's something that pretty much just comes with the domain, right? It's not something you kind of set every time you open a domain like Gojo's doing. Now, since he compressed it, we can see the battle ensuing through the shaking of the sphere. And as it continues to break, if Gojo loses this domain clash again after his newest trick of compression, he doesn't have any more options. That's pretty much what's going to cause him to lose. But we see he actually wins in this scenario. So he shrinks it down to the size that Sukuna ends up with a hole in his chest, and because of that, his malevolent shrine breaks. But he also forced Gojo's domain to break from the outside. So, continuing to look, they actually go on to quantify how long it took for him to do this. It was about 3 minutes. And in those 3 minutes, we can see that because their domains broke, neither of them can actually use their curse techniques for a while. But Gojo, of course, can heal his curse technique because he has that technique reversal or RCT on his technique. But because Sukuna also has this innate talent, he can now do it too because he's seen it as far as the commentators are concerned. And so they continue to fight. It's more hand to hand. Gojo starts to question why Sukuna's only been using his innate cleave and slashing attacks. And it's something that a lot of people have questioned. Why is Sukuna doing this? But the main reason is because, and we're probably going to find out in the next chapter, it seems like he's holding it for some reason. So Gojo goes on to elaborate, yeah, he has Megumi's memory, so he knows I know about his strongest techniques, including Maharaga, but why is he holding back? Because that is one of his strongest Ten Shadows techniques. But, again, we can see as the chapter starts to end, the wheel comes out, right? But the most important thing through this, Gojo's nose starts to bleed, right, as he's looking. And so it seems like there is something that is going to happen with Maharaga next chapter, the thing we've kind of been waiting for, more of Sukuna's ultimate techniques coming out. I don't think Maharaga is his trump card, per se, but it is one of the stronger weapons he has in his arsenal. And he's now just starting to use the Ten Shadows, so it looks like this next chapter is going to be huge for Sukuna, as Gojo did finally make some progress. into countering the domain battles between him and Sukuna. I think this is now actually going to get into more than just domains, and so things are going to change just a bit. This battle does seem a bit more interesting now that we do have some level of variety outside of just domain clashes. So next chapter I think is going to be one that brings a lot of fans together, and kind of divides them at the same time. So if you guys are excited for the next chapter, tell me what you guys liked about this one and what you're kind of looking forward to. But that's it for now. More content coming soon.